Welcome back to the Boudoir. I am your host, Aisha Jones. We are on episode 16, I think. Episode 16. Like, what the heck? This is crazy. This is amazing. First of all, can I just say, your guys' engagement with my content lately has been incredible. Really, I really do appreciate it. I've been getting such great feedback in the comments, especially on YouTube videos. And you guys are liking and engaging with the posts, which is incredible. That is the best thing you can do for us as small creators. The best thing you can do is interact with our content because that's how we get shown and on people's For You pages. Now, today, we are going to be talking all about how to validate yourself and specifically how to stop caring what people think. This whole thing, as somebody who, looked to outside validation a lot growing up, this was a hard lesson to learn. But once I learned this and once I figured out not only the psychology of why you care about what people think about you, but seeing that people's reactions and opinions about you are not at all indicative of who you are, is something that I really had to learn. And I'm going to take you through this journey of how I got there and kind of like, the logic behind it. Because I'm somebody who needs to understand things completely forward, backwards, in and out. Like I have to just, really dive deep and understand things. So this is how I came up with my conclusion. And this is my ideology for how you're going to stop giving so much power and weight to other people's opinions and focus and validate on yourself. So I'm inviting you right now to take a moment to think about all of the things that you like and dislike. I'm talking about like music, movie genres, places to go, things to eat, your favorite foods, your favorite colors, people you dislike, things you dislike, your pet peeves. Think about all the things that you've accumulated in your life. And through this accumulation, you have gathered information about yourself. You have, set the standard and the tone for the things that you enjoy and you choose to put your time toward. We all do it. We all have things that we like and dislike, and some of us love things that everybody dislikes, and some of us really hates things that are popular. You might love rap but hate country music. You might love mint chocolate chip ice cream but think Rocky Road is disgusting. Everybody has things that they are either staunchly for and they'll probably never change their views, or they're a little more malleable, but for the most part people just feel how they feel, and that's the bottom line. So the point I'm trying to make with this analogy is we all have things that we deem are correct and we all think are right for ourselves in our life. That does not mean it is the objective truth for everybody all around. It just means that, for example, I like coffee ice cream. I don't think everybody should have to like it. I just like it. That is how you need to view people's opinions on you. That is literally how it like breaking it down like that and actually understanding, like, look, these people's opinions and praises and stuff that I'm searching for so desperately, like, I can do that for myself. And everyone thinks their opinions are right. Everyone thinks that what they think is the truth. But what matters most is your own opinion of yourself, which is why you can't let people's opinions, good or bad, really affect you. Of course, you're allowed to feel good when people compliment you, and it's natural if somebody's hating or being really mean to feel bad about it, of course. But the point is that you should not let it be something that consumes you and takes up your whole mental space, because their opinion is simply just that. It's an opinion. I like Rocky Road ice cream. I like rap music. It's just that. It's an opinion. It comes and goes. It's just a preference. And that's really what helped me. Like, it's not so much a direct personal attack on you. It's more about people just have things that they prefer, and instead of getting so riled up and acting like everything is a personal attack, remember that you too also have preferences. You also have things that you like and don't like. So it's not like the whole world is like conspiring against you to make you feel bad about yourself. And that's honestly what makes life so interesting, like the fact that we all have so many varying opinions. Some of them are terrible and not good for society, but I'm just talking about like lighthearted things. We all have different preferences, and if we all thought the same way, the world would be really boring and we'd be desperately searching for some variety. You can't let those types of things get to you and make it something that becomes, super internalized. It is natural for us as humans to want to be liked and to want to build connection with other people. And it can sting, especially when it's something that you worked really hard on and maybe you're not getting the reaction you wanted, or you're just scared to do something because, oh, I don't want that person to think I'm weird, or I don't want to wear that because I'm scared people are going to judge me. Like, it's natural for us to have those questions come up in our heads like, oh my God, is this weird? Am I doing too much? But what matters is if you like it. If you have the desire to wear a certain dress or, you know, take a certain career path that maybe isn't the most conventional, it's there for a reason. Your desire is there for a reason, and it's never going to go away no matter how much you try, no matter how hard you may judge yourself or be preemptively scared of somebody else judging you and like psyching yourself out from doing what you actually want to do. That's a life of a prisoner. You're being so held back and held behind because you're scared of what somebody might say. And again, as we've talked about, some people, maybe they won't like that dress. Maybe they will think to themselves, oh, what are they wearing? Like, that's so weird. Life will go on. The sun will rise and set. You know, the days will continue. Everything will be fine. It's just an opinion. It's not an attack on your character. It's not any of that. It's just somebody thought something. Okay, maybe it was directed at you, but you move on. You also have opinions. We all also have a biological need to want to be seen. And that is why it's so important to honor your authentic self and to not run away from the things you actually want. Just because, you know, somebody might say something. By seeking others' approval like that and by putting people's thoughts and opinions on such a high pedestal, that is going to lead to a lot of sadness. And you're never going to feel like you're actually fully living to your potential because you're so worried about staying in like the typical box of, okay, I must do this, I must follow everything single file line and not deviate from that. But you're never going to truly be happy because you're not satisfying that authentic part of yourself that wants to shine through and that deserves to be shown and showcased. Well, that's why a lot of people don't post content. They don't, you know, try modeling. They don't try all these things that they really may want to try, but they just never do because, you know, it's not the typical path, or they're just scared of what somebody's going to say. For me, I would rather do something and know that, okay, at least I tried, I did it. I don't have to listen to that like nagging feeling in my head that's saying, go for it, but you never actually answer it. I would rather do that than, you know, not do something and stifle myself just because of what somebody might say. And anybody that's like so invested in what you choose to do with your life and what makes you happy is not a good person for you to be around, like at all. A person that cares about you is going to support you in something that makes you happy, unless you're doing something that's destructive or something, or like seriously not good for you. But if it's just like, okay, I want to dye my hair a certain color, or I want to, or try dressing in a different way than I normally dress, they should be supportive in that. There shouldn't be this attack on who you are. It shouldn't be like that. People shouldn't make you feel bad. But just remember, you should not have to minimize yourself in order to make others more comfortable. You should be able to live in your authentic truth, your authentic self, without ridicule. And honestly, in a perfect world, it would be like that. For the most part, people probably won't actually say something to you. Maybe they might think it. Maybe they might talk about it in a group chat or something. Who knows? That's not for you to sit and ponder and wonder about, because it's not your business. What is your business is to follow what you want and follow what your desires are, and to validate your wants and needs. And you can do that by like practicing little by little, just putting yourself out there and being authentic. Like, for example, if you're trying to change your style, little by little, just start incorporating little pieces into your wardrobe, make it gradual, go at your own pace. And once you start feeling more comfortable with it, it's going to be like second nature. But you do have to get used to rejection and exposure in a certain way. Like, you have to get used to putting yourself in uncomfortable situations in order to grow. And just learn that it's okay to coexist among people that maybe don't all see eye to eye. Again, I'm talking about frivolous stuff. I'm not talking about real life, you know, things that, you know what I mean. But yeah, like, get used to listening to people, like different people's ideas and thoughts and interests. Diversify your information so that you know that, oh wait, no, there is a place in this world for different people's ideas to coexist. It doesn't all have to be one way, and I shouldn't have to live in fear and wondering what somebody else is going to say and how can I get somebody else's approval. That type of life will never make you happy, when you're constantly searching for somebody else to give you the answers and somebody else to tell you what's good for you. how will you ever learn who you are? How will you ever know yourself? You'll never actually get the chance to figure out who you are because you're trying so hard to stick to a script and portray something that you're not. So as scary as it is, as hard as it is sometimes, you really do have to practice living in your authentic truth and being your authentic self, and get comfortable with the fact that everybody's not always going to agree. Everybody is not going to agree with how, how you see things, how you dress, where you go, where you shop. It's never going to happen. And you shouldn't want to please everybody. That is a miserable life to live. You don't want to have to walk on eggshells in your own life. Like, you should be able to live comfortably and freely. Now let's talk about how to validate yourself, and instead of, depending on other people's words and validation, how to find that validation and solace in your own self. So I had to ask myself, like, okay, Aisha, how do you validate yourself? Like, I couldn't exactly put it into words, but I know that I am pretty good at validating how I feel and making space for my feelings. And this is how I do it. You have to practice trusting yourself and trusting the feelings that you have. It is super important to really sit with yourself and identify how you feel about things, because when you actually take the time to put energy into what you're feeling instead of trying to mask it and hide it, when you give it the spotlight that it deserves and you give it a space in this world, when you give it that attention, you actually have an opportunity to work through it, because you're not hiding, you're not, lying to yourself, you're not sugarcoating it, you're facing it head on, and you're saying, listen, we're safe, we're comfortable. If I'm feeling a certain way, let's address it, let's figure it out. Let's learn something about ourselves. It's always, all of these things, it's always an opportunity to learn a little bit more about yourself. But one of the main ways you can validate yourself and really understand who you are is to give those feelings a safe space in this world. Like in episode 14, I always preach, it is so important to feel all of your feelings, even the negative ones, even the uncomfortable ones, even the ones that a lot of therapists and people will tell you that it's bad to feel, like shame and things. Don't do that. Actually, I'm not going to say don't do that. Do what works for you. But I'm just saying another alternative is to, instead of denying those feelings and saying, no, I'm not allowed to feel shame, I'm not allowed to feel disappointed, I'm not allowed to feel anger. Instead of doing that, you give yourself the safe space to feel those things, because there's nothing wrong or shameful for feeling that. There's nothing wrong. You're a human being. You are allowed to feel certain things. That is why it's so important to give yourself the safe, non-judgmental space to feel those things, so that you're not running, you're not hiding, you're not faking, you're not suppressing, you're not hiding how you actually feel. You're actually giving it the space and attention it deserves, and you're addressing it. And by doing that, you now create a safe space for you to feel anything and to be able to identify those feelings and say, you know what? Yeah, today is not my day, and let's talk about it. I'm not feeling good because X, Y, and Z. And it actually becomes easier to get through it. Once you understand what you're feeling and the logic behind it, it actually becomes easier to get through it because you're understanding it more. You're not coming from a judgmental place of, oh, I'm not supposed to feel like that. No, like, think of the feelings almost like a person. Like, you don't want to shun the person away because, no, that's bad. You want to give it a space, and you want to give it a chance to be heard and to be seen, because that's all it wants. It doesn't want you to suppress those feelings. Your body does not want you to suppress. That is why when you do suppress your feelings and you hide how you really feel, you blow up one day, and it's ugly. Okay? So feel your feelings, even the bad ones. That's like my favorite motto. But when I say give those feelings a space in the real world, I mean actually bring those feelings to life. And you can do that by journaling, writing down your words, and physically having a manifestation for those feelings out in the real world. You can create art, painting. A lot of painters, are very emotional, and creatives in general, we're very emotional and in tune with our feelings, because that's all we're just feelers. And the best way to get those feelings out is by creating art. You can even record voice messages and just have them on your phone, and you can look back at them and be like, oh, this is where I was a couple months ago, or last year or something. So you can have like a physical record of how you are feeling and the way your brain and your feelings are now evolving. You could also talk to a friend or just talk to yourself out loud. Like, a lot of the things that I go through, I literally will sit and talk to myself out loud, because it's like the only way I can really make sense of what I'm feeling. When it just gets stuck inside of your brain, it feels so debilitating. It literally feels like the walls are crashing down on you. that is why it's so important to give those feelings a safe space and a home to live in the real world, so that you can see they're not as scary and as bad as you may think they are. And you don't have to face them alone, because your brain can become an echo chamber and you get stuck in these ruminating thoughts of just, going through the same things over and over and over again. But when you actually address how you feel and you validate yourself, you start feeling so much better, and you feel like you can trust yourself more and that you can give yourself the validation you need. And like I mentioned, please don't judge yourself for having feelings. And also, don't judge yourself for judging yourself for having feelings. You following what I'm picking up? Basically, you're human. You're a human being. You're not a computer. You're not perfect. You're not going to change your life in one night. It's a work in progress, and you should honor that. But do not judge yourself for having any sort of negative feelings, or if you feel like you're overreacting about something, don't judge yourself. Your feelings are there for a reason. So you, like I said, you have to give them the safe space to be able to be realized. Your feelings deserve to be validated by you. And when you don't have that, system for yourself where you're not able to actually validate yourself, that's when you start going to outside sources like other partners, and you can find yourself in a codependent situation, which is not good. You can turn to substances even, or just destructive behaviors that you're looking to fill that void. But I'm telling you, once you master, blocking out people's thoughts and not caring about every single thing people say, your life becomes so much easier to live. And you don't feel like you're always chasing something. Like, I know when I used to seek validation in others or like outside things, I was always chasing something and it was never enough. You have to be enough for yourself. As corny as it sounds, you really do. Like, you have to learn how to fill and pour into your own cup, and that's gonna look different depending on what you like to do. Like, some people can face mask and self-care it away. Some people like to journal. Some people like to work out. You just have to find what works for you. But the most important thing is you actually study yourself and you give yourself the safe space to thrive. So I hope this episode was helpful, a little shorter today, and hopefully just, give you a different perspective on how to validate yourself, because it's super important that we learn how to fill and pour into our own cups so that we can help other people. Don't forget to like this video. And if you are listening to me on Spotify or Apple or wherever else you listen to your podcast, please make sure to rate me 5 stars. I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.